So for those who don't know, BuzzFeed came out with this video about half a year ago, and it was 24 questions that black people apparently had for all white people. So strap your bitch ass in, because I'm gonna field them all.
Why do you always make such horrible decisions in horror movies? It's not cool to split up.
This is not a question for white people. This is a question for screenplay writers. And it's also pretty ignorant to assume that white people are the only ones in charge of what happens in horror movies.
Why do you freak out when black people are cast to play white fictional characters?
I would freak out if the Black Panther was played by a white guy. This is not about race, it's about the characters we love. No, I'm not open to changing and neither should you. We have enough evidence to show when a producer sticks to the source material, they become box office record breakers.
What's the big deal if Idris Elba plays James Bond? I would go see it twice.
I would totally see that as well. I think any fan of James Bond knows 007 isn't the same guy every time, so he could be fucking Asian for all I care.
Why is a big butt and big lips considered attractive on a white woman, but they're unattractive on a black woman?
I would really like to meet who told you that, because a big butt and big lips look good on whatever woman it's on.
Do y'all really think Miley is the one who created twerking? Really?
I have never really thought about it and never really cared.
Why am I supposed to teach you how to twerk? I don't know how to twerk.
Did somebody assign you to this job? Because it totally wasn't me. So don't worry, you are totally off the hook on this one.
Why is it that white people always act as though they have discovered a new trend when people of color have been doing it for virtually years?
Beautiful and entertaining people set trends. And that being said, I don't think I've ever heard anybody take credit for setting a trend.
Why is it when a black woman wears her hair natural, it's seen as inappropriate, but when a white woman does, it's praised?
I'm just gonna say, this actor sucks. And you can wear your hair whatever way you want to. Fuck, really?
This is the hair that I was born with, so you wearing it as a trend is not cute.
Perception, next.
Like, can you appropriate my student loans? Can you take that off my hands?
Are you asking me for real? So question number 8 out of 24 questions black people have for white people is, can I appropriate your student loans? Can I take it off your hands? I mean, I'll answer it, and it's no, I can't help you. I don't think white people can exclusively either.
Why is it that white crime is seen as an isolated incident, but black crime is a representation of my entire community?
Spoiler alert, there's not a lot of good questions on this list, but this was a good question, and it deserves an honest answer. We, as in everybody, generalize black people. White people generalize them, black people generalize them, every other race outside of black and white that no one cares about in America apparently also generalizes black people. And we do this because there's a wider percentage of violence in America that are committed by black men. Not to discredit the things that created this massive violent black guys, like from broken school systems and homes to limited resources and unfair prison systems. I also know that this is unfair because the majority of black people are not violent. And the media sells us a lot of white people haters and laces it up with the music industry, which is currently the most popular representation of the black community. I'm not saying they do represent the black community, I'm saying tell that to the ignorant average American.
When we see a story on TV about a white serial killer, I don't automatically assume that all white people must be serial killers too.
Yeah, that's very fair and rational.
Talking about race make you feel so uncomfortable.
Well, I don't. Actually, it's one of my favorite subjects because it's so damn complicated, but I can definitely see for most people it's...
Is it because you think that you'll be perceived as racist if you talk about race?
Yes, exactly.
You don't really believe that racism is over because we have a black president, do you?
Absolutely not, but to be fair, as long as there's differences, there's always going to be biases, generalizations, and prejudices. But I think the fact that we have a black president is kind of proof that the nation isn't anti-black.
Why is it so easy for you to notice when there are no white people around, but you hardly ever notice when there are no black people around?
Black people make up 13% of the population. If there were a lot of people around and none of them were white, it'd be a very noteworthy observation.
Why is your goal to be colorblind?
What the fuck? My goal is to be colorblind? My goal is to do YouTube shit. What the fuck is this? And even if my goal was to be colorblind, how would you even fucking set that up?
There's so many different types of people in the world, yet you can't see color?
I honestly can't pick which between these two is asking dumber questions. What the hell does diversity have to do with my retinal ability?
Why do you want to say the N-word so badly?
Okay, another good question. Besides the obnoxious
So badly.
I know there's a lot of people who don't care whether they say it or not, but we're being totally naive if we're not saying that a lot of people do. I personally think it's one of the coolest sentence fillers ever.
I don't use it. What makes you think you can?
Well, I can do whatever the fuck I want, just like you can. And I'll be clear, I do say it. It is my favorite term of endearment to my friends and family. I just don't say it while I'm entertaining because the majority of people are still offended by white people using the word. Like if I said nigga on here, I'd have to bleep it out. I would not have to do that for a black guy.
Why do you always want to touch our hair?
I don't.
Who told you it was okay to touch people without their permission?
I think this probably happens to a lot of people, not just black people. I've gotten punched in the arms for a good job, I've gotten pat on the backs, girls have touched my hair, touched my arm, I've hugged, people have hugged me. Physical touch is kind of how we establish connection in society. If you aren't into it, just let them know. Most of the time, they comply.
Why do you feel like having one black friend makes you a cultural expert or not a racist?
Me having black friends at any number doesn't make me anything.
Is your only black friend comfortable with being the reason why you can't be racist?
You are making a ton of assumptions here, man. Is this real life? You guys get 24 questions and this is what you come up with? Did you do a poll or a study or ask any black people what they really want to know given the chance to ask all white people?
By that logic, then I'm not racist. I have a ton of white friends.
Yeah.
Why do you feel comfortable cursing at your parents?
You know what? I've actually seen this too, and I don't have an answer for it, but it's interesting. But that is definitely not epidemic level enough to warrant a question when you only have 24.
Why do you kiss your dogs on the mouth?
Why do I kiss my what where?
How come you can't pronounce black names like Kuvanjane, but can say names like Schwarzenegger, Galifianakis, and LaBeouf just fine?
Oh my god, this is so dumb. Obviously, I've seen these guys in movies. I've never seen Janabane or whatever. If I looked at Schwarzenegger before knowing who Schwarzenegger was, I wouldn't have been able to pronounce that shit.
Why do you feel like all lions' lives matter, but black lives don't?
Is this like a new stereotype? Love for lions? And I would counter this question with another question asking, do you think we really love lions over black people?
Why is a lion's life in Africa more important than the lives of black people here in America?
Okay, you just literally repeated her question. Is this lion rumor real in the black community? Because I have some questions from my black friends.
I get it. Lion King was an awesome movie. But so was Selma, and so was Malcolm X.
Is he seriously trying to sell me off lions right now?
Why is it so hard for you to acknowledge your privilege?
Actually, that isn't hard for me. I can acknowledge that white life in America is America on easy level. And I get that a lot of white people deny that, and I understand that we all have our plights, but I think that everybody needs to understand that on top of all the plights we have, there's being black on top of that. And it is a privilege to just not have to deal with that shit.
How does it feel to not be the spokesperson for your entire race at any given time?
That is a very legitimate and very sad question. To answer, yes, it is a good thing that I don't have to deal with that. And I know it's not enough for me to tell you that it isn't true just because a few people think that. The tragedy here is that this was a real opportunity to open up a discussion and really talk about this issue. You obviously didn't ask these questions because you were curious of the answer, you asked them to offend. And hey, I'm all for roasting, but if you're roasting, make sure it's legitimate or you're gonna look really fucking stupid.